Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal and this is Books Forever After, where I sit on my floor, we talk about everything and all things books. So I am in chaos right now. As you can tell, I am in the middle of filming a reorganization vlog, and so that is coming. But in the meantime, today we were talking about, is Kindle Unlimited worth it? And at least, is it worth it for me? So if you aren't aware, Kindle Unlimited is basically like Netflix for books. You're able to check out up to 20 books at a time, access to thousands of books, and a lot of access to mainly independent authors as well. You are also able to purchase audiobooks at like $7 or $7.99, I think half the audiobook price, if you utilize KU. And they do have some books that have audio available with the ebook, but I haven't found very many of those books, at least in the books that I have read. Now, I have used KU for at least 3 years, but this is the first time that I'm tracking, that I went back and looked to see if it was worth it or not. And I saw that Beccie from Beccie Reads has did this video as well, so I will link her video and her channel down below as well for you to check out hers as well. Lately I've just been feeling overwhelmed with KU, to say the least, and I've been noticing that I don't think I've been using it as often, mainly because I am fortunate enough to have access to a wide variety of these kind of books from my library, and I'm able to check those out via the Libby app or the Hoopla app, via audiobook or ebook. So because of that, I don't think I'm able to utilize KU enough, and so I wanted to crunch the numbers and see if that is true on the cost side as well. In addition to that, I wanted to also look at it into the ratings, the star ratings of these books that I'm reading. Am I enjoying the books that I am reading from KU? So with that said, with all that out of the way, let's go by month to month and let's see if it's worth it or not. Okay, so in January, I read one book, and that was Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole. I rated that a 2-star, and the retail amount was $4.99, and KU at this time was $10.69, which I think it was a flat rate of $9.99. The cost for KU did not go up until July of 2023, I think, because of the timing. I know they did have an increase in January, I believe, whenever they announced their price increase. So for the month of January, I lost $5.70. In February, I read one book, and that was Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton, and that was a DNF. 1 star, so not good. And that was also $4.99. So for the month of February, I lost another $5.70. March, I read 3 books. I read Flawless by Elsie Silver, which was a 4-star and $5.99. The Awakening, Book 1 in Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. That was a 4-star, and that was $6.99. And I read The Tyrant, I don't think I typed that right, but The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate, whatever it looks like up here, by Kate C. Wells, and that was a 3-star, and the cost for that was $3.99. These ebooks were $16.97. In KU, I spent $10.69, so for the month of March, I saved $6.28. In April, I read 3 books. I read Heartless by Elsie Silver, and that was a 5-star, and that cost was $5.99. And then I read Book 2 of Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Fae, and that was a 5-star, and that was $6.99. And lastly, I read Glow, which is book 4 in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy, and that was another 5-star, which is $6.99. So altogether, if I would have purchased these separately, would have been $19.97, giving me a savings of $9.28. In May, I read 3 books from KU, and that was, the first one was Dare You to Hate Me. That was book 1 in Linden U, and that was by B. Celeste. And that book was a 3-star. And the cost of that book is $3.99. And then 10, which is the Fairies of Oz #1 by Candace Robinson and Amber R. Dwell. That was a DNF. And at the time that I did this, it was free, $0. And then lastly, I read Toxic. This was book 1 in the Mafia Wars of New York by Maggie Cole, and that was a 2-star, and the cost of that was $4.99. So in the month of May, if I would have purchased these separately, was $8.98, giving me a loss of $1.71. In June, I read Parallel, which is book 1 in the Parallel series by Elizabeth O'Rourke, and that was a 2-star, and the cost of that was $4.99. So that has given me a loss of $5.70. In July, I read A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley, and that was a 5-star, and the cost of that was $5.99. Giving me a loss of $6.84. In the month of August, I read 3 books, and the first one of that, which this was the Romance Readathon, and the month of the Romance Readathon, and I read How to Marry a Marble Marquis by C.M. Nacosta, and that was a 3-star, and the cost of this book was $4.99. I read The Kraken's Sacrifice by Katie Robert, and that was a 2-star, and the price of that was $4.99. And I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but this is book 1 in the Crowns of Nyaxia by Carissa Broadbent, and that was a 5-star, and that was also, and these books were all $4.99, giving me a total of $14.97, which gave me a savings of $2.14. In the month of September, I read 1 book, and that was The Reckoning. That was book 3 of the Zodiac Academy, and that was a 5-star. The cost of that book is $6.99, giving me a loss of $5.84. In the month of October, I read 4 books, and that was Of Shadow and Moonlight by Luna Laurier, and that was a DNF, and the cost of that book is actually $0. The second one was The Sword. That is a novella, prequel novella by J. Bree for the Mortal Fates, and that was a 4-star, and the cost of that was $2.99. And then The Scepter was $2.99 as well, and that was actually a 5-star. And then The Crowns of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree, which is a 6-star, and probably my favorite romantasy of 2023, and that was $4.99. This gives me a total cost in October as $10.97, but I still lost $1.86. In November, I read 3 books from Kindle Unlimited. The first one was The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is book 2 in the Crowns of Nyaxia duet by Carissa Broadbent, and that was a 4-star. The cost of this book is $4.99. Next, I read Stuffed by the Were-Turkey by Tate McKirk as part of the Weird Ass Book Club that is hosted by April and Maggie, and that was a 3-star, and the total of that was 99 cents. And then next was Full Sack. If you know, you know. Oh, the toaster. This is by Layla Faye, and this was a 4-star. The cost of that book is $2.99, giving me a total in November of $8.97, which means I lost $3.86. In December, I read 3 books, and that was Mile High by Liz Tom Ford, and I actually DNF'd the ebook, but then read the audiobook, which took me a while to read it on my commute. So it's kind of strange how that happens. This ended up being a 3-star for me, and that was $4.99. And then I read The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen, and those were both 4-star. The book 1 was $5.99 and book 2 was $6.99, giving me a total in December of $17.97, saving me $5.14. Right, so that is everything. And the total of all of this, 27 books. The retail amount of these are $126.75. My KU cost for that entire year, as it did go up in July. So the first half of the year was $10.69. They increased their price, it went up to $12.83, giving me a total of KU cost for the year at $141.12, meaning I lost $14.37 for the year. So that means to make KU worth it for me, I have to be reading at least 3 books on average to break even on the monthly cost. So at least 3 books, and those usually have to be about $4.99 for each. So for me, looking back at this, and the fact that also my average rating is about a 3.5 for all of these. So for me, it's average. And I don't know if it's really worth it for me to be taking that cost, especially on a monthly, looking at on a monthly spectrum as well. And because I have access to most of these books on Libby. And in reality, if I'm only reading one ebook a month from KU, I might as well just buy it if I really want to. But even then, can I find the audiobook? I don't know if I want to be spending $5 for an ebook, to be honest. In the grand scheme of things, I'd rather just have the physical book, just because that's the format that I prefer. And I don't know if they're necessarily books that I will be enjoying. And a lot of the times I also have access to, I also utilize my library a lot in getting my physical books to purchase, because I do have access to library sales, and I want to be able to concentrate on my physical TBR as well. So does that mean I won't ever use KU again? I don't know. I'm just saying for this year, I'm just going to see how it is, and not to belabor the point either. But Stuff Your Kindle Day, I want to challenge others to give up KU for like a month and read your Stuff Your Kindle Day books. Because to be honest, I have 362 free books on my Kindle, and I read only 115 books a year. So I have so many books that I can read and not be paying for KU. And because Stuff Your Kindle Day is multiple times a year, I don't think I really would ever have to pay for an ebook. Pay for it as in where it's $0. So for me, it's not worth it. And that was what I would recommend as well, is to see if your library has access to that as well. Now, I'm not saying that this is what you should do, but if you're toying with the idea of KU, maybe see if your library has access to it. And if it's all you read, actually, like I know my sister personally reads all KU books all the time. So for her, it would be worth it because she's reading more books than the cost of KU. So she's saving money by utilizing KU. So let me know in the comments if this is something, does KU work for you? Or are you able to just utilize Stuff Your Kindle Day and your library instead? Do you have access to a lot of these books for your library via the Libby app or Hoopla, Scribd, whatever? So yeah, for me, I think for this year, I have already canceled KU, and I am not going to be utilizing it for this year. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on my free books that I got for Stuff Your Kindle Day that's on my Kindle right now, and I think I might do a couple of challenges throughout the year on maybe try a chapter kind of vlogs, or themed vlogs that way. I did download quite a bit of historical romance and fantasy romance, and that'll also give me exposure to other authors that I haven't tried before, especially a lot of independent authors and historical romance, because it's definitely, I hope, is the theme this year. I want to bring historical romance back so bad. I just hope so many more people read historical romances, and I think this just might be the ticket, at least for me as well. But yeah, let me know what you think. Alright, with that said, thank you for watching. As always, I will link my Goodreads, my Instagram, and my Amazon wishlist down below, as well as Beckie's video. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.